Woohoo! And we're live once again on another Tuesday. And I have the funnest, bounciest person in the house today, my own personal Tigger from Winnie the Pooh. I love it. I love it. I have Ashley Leeds, the 15-minute guy, and we have a great show for everybody today where we're talking about the 15-minute author building authority through bite-sized writing. But before we get stuck in, Ashley, I want you to go ahead and tell people who you are and what you do, and then we'll get stuck in.
Okay. So hi, I love it. Live, Gillian and friends, and we are friends because you've been here in my shed, haven't you?
I have. I loved it. I loved it.
Brilliant. So yeah, my name's Ashley Leeds. I'm the 15-minute guy, and I help people be brave, be courageous, and do amazing things on LinkedIn in just 15 minutes a day.
I love it. I love it. Short and sweet. And the one thing I have to say about when I came to see the shed, because I drove to see you when I was about this time last year in England.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, absolutely.
Driving around, and we went out for tea and scones, and I had them the proper way with you. So that was nice. That was nice. But the one thing that super impressed me with your shed, first of all, that you even have this shed, because it is absolutely so cool, because it's a studio and a green room and a dressing room and everything all at once. But I love that you had these voice activated lights. You just like took it up a notch, and it was just like, oh,
I've done one better. Can you see my book behind me?
Yes.
Watch this. Oh, there it is. There we go.
Ooh, I like that.
So it's on the button now.
I love that. I love that. I love that. Okay, so I want to ask you first, where did the 15-minute guy come up with? Where did that all start? Why are you called the 15-minute guy? Let's start with that one.
Do you know, if I had a penny for every time someone asked me that, it's a great conversation starter. But the thing is, I was super busy during lockdown, and I was looking after lots of people, and everybody needed a hand because I was coaching accountants at the time, and it's sort of like, well, I can't get to see you all. I can't spend lots of time with you. And so I started creating 15-minute meetings. And the thing is, right, when you have a meeting with somebody, you turn around and go, all right, the calendar says an hour, so let's have an hour. And what happens is you use the time and you fill it. Okay. And you don't get anything done anyway. And so I trimmed it down to 15 minutes, and I'd come on a meeting and someone would say, oh, hi, can I have a quick call with you? Yeah, sure. Here's 15 minutes. Absolutely nobody said 15 minutes. Is that all I'm getting? They could see that I respected their time. I respected my time. And so it's straight in. Hi, how are you? Yeah. How can I help you? Oh, I need this, and this. Brilliant. Anything else? No, that's absolutely fine. Sometimes you get on a call and you want a little bit longer. I can run over a little bit. Are you all right now to run over? Oh, no, because I've only blocked out 50 minutes as well. But let's put something in the diary. But most often than not, it's let's get on with it and let's do this. And so that's what I started doing. And then when I was teaching LinkedIn, I was trying to get people to come up with headlines for their profile. And I went, oh my goodness, I could be the 15-minute guy. And so while I was trying to get everybody else to think of one, I thought of my own, and I actually changed it there and then in the training session. And it has just stuck. And in fact, if you Google the 15-minute guy, I come out.
Wow.
So there you go. It does work. It's taken a while, but it's all about consistency.
I love that. I love that. And you're probably a prime example for John Esperian's book, Content DNA, of sort of being known for one thing. And it's like, you own that. You own that phrase. Have you had to go and trademark it or anything, or it's just
no,
just yours?
I keep thinking I should. I got a stand, right? I was at this exhibition 2 weeks ago, and it's got the 15-minute guy. It's got a picture of me stood like this, and it's all my colors and that. It's a great thing. And this guy comes over and he goes, "Oh my God, I want to take a photo of that." And he got his camera out and took a photo of it. And he said, "My name's Guy, and I want to go home and I want to tell my wife that I'm the 15-minute guy."
I love that. I love that. That's brilliant.
It's good. And it always sparks curiosity, and that's what we need to do in life, isn't it? We just don't want to be that bland guy, the LinkedIn trainer.
Yes. I love it. I love it.
15-minute guy.
And I think that time is an objection for so many things. I don't want to say it's an excuse. I want to say it's an objection, because sometimes I think we want to do something and we say, I don't have the time. I don't have the time to create content on LinkedIn. I don't have time to write a book. So can you tell us how you took this sort of timely 15-minute mindset, and how did you incorporate that into writing your book in your own process, or for the readers that they could read and digest it quickly? How does the 15-minute guide go with your book?
Okay, so writing it wasn't that difficult because I had all the ideas. Okay, but basically what I've been doing, I've been writing content ideas, 5 ideas every single Monday, and I've now do it on a Friday. But I share 5 ideas every single week. I've been doing that for nearly 4 years. I started my business 4 years ago last week, and it wasn't long until it was probably a month or 2, and then I started doing a newsletter. So nearly 4 years. And then when I come up with the idea of doing because the problem is, I teach people how to do LinkedIn, and then every single one turns around to me and goes, "But I don't know what to write, Ash." and they're like, you're a content creator. I'm a content creator. Content's everywhere, and we don't see a problem with it. But it is a problem. It is difficult trying to think, oh, what can I? No one will be interested. So I then grabbed hold of all of my content ideas, and there was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, and put them all in a spreadsheet and went through them. And I picked out the ones that I thought were the best, and also the ones that didn't have a date attached to them. So come December, I'm saying, write about Christmas trees, write about Christmas presents, this time of year, write about the Easter Bunny. Okay. Well, if you open up the book, and the whole idea of the book is that you could just grab hold of it and open up a page, and it gives you an idea. And yeah, there it is. Look at that. It looks even better on the screen, doesn't it? But there's the ideas in there, and it's quick and easy to think about. But you don't want to open it up in the middle of summer and it says write about Christmas trees. So so I had to do all of that. So there's a lot of work involved. And then what I did, I added more value to each of the ideas and expanded on those. So what I ended up doing was making sure that I put enough time aside to do that. So yeah, that's how I wrote the book. And obviously I wrapped it all up in how to create content, what to write, all the different types of posts and stuff like that. So there's a lot of front end work as well.
I love it. And your book it's easy to read. It's easy to digest. It's like you can just read it and hit the ground running. It's like you don't have to wait and read the whole thing. Like some books, like it's like, oh, I've got to read it and I've got to do homework and then I've got to do more homework. And it's a while before I can actually take action, but it's like literally you can take action immediately. So that's really good. And I love that you added in the tracking, because that's the accountability bit. So can you talk about how did you make the decision to add that to a book? Because you're just like, okay, just the ideas, would that not be enough?
Okay, I'll tell you what, and I've got something to show you as well. So I'm reaching down here somewhere. There it is. This here. All right. So I got a friend, Dave, and he is into fitness. And he does lots of working out, and he goes to the gym and all that sort of stuff. And he turned around to me one day and said, I was asking him about his fitness, and he said, I do a lot of walking. And he said, you do a lot of walking, but it's not building up your muscles. And when you get to our age, you've got to build up your muscles. And he said, you need to go to the gym, and you need to go on these machines and stuff like that. I'm not a gym bunny. I can't go to the gym. And so he said, well, what you need to be doing is you need to be doing press-ups and sit-ups. And I said, right, okay, and squats. And he said, you need to do 10 a day of squats and press-ups and sit-ups. And I said, oh, that's fine. He said, when you've done the 10, you do 20. And then when you've done the 20, you do 30. And when you've done the 30, you do 40. When you've done the 40, you do 50. And that's 150 of each of them. And he went, yeah. Every day? And he went, yeah. I can't do that. So what I did is I did 10. I did 10 of each. And then the next day I did 11. And then the next day I did 12, and then the next day I did 13, etc., etc., etc. Sadly, I didn't keep the original piece of card, but this is my daughter designs cards, and this is old stock. And so in here, I started this sheet in February 2022. So I started it in 2022, but this sheet was started on the 1st of May, and here I got to 102. And as you go through, it gets to 150. Recently, I've dropped down to 100 each day. And when you turn around to somebody and say, I've dropped down to just 100 press-ups a day, it's like, that's weird. I never thought I'd say that. But what I did, Gillian, is I wrote it down on every day, and I've kept that going. In fact, today, I've got it's down there. I haven't done all the sit-ups. I've got a poorly bottom, so I can't. So, but there you are. You see, today I did my 100 sit-ups and stretches and 30 squats. I don't do so many squats because of my knees, but I do that every day because I write it down. And so therefore, I thought if we write things down, we will get it done. And the whole idea of this tracker is that you can then go back at it and look at it at another day, because it's all very well creating a bit of content, but did you know you could repurpose it? You can use it again, and people don't think that. And so therefore you can go back and see what you did last time and change it a little bit. And I give you tips in the book about how to change that and what different ways to repurpose content. So that's how I got the tracker.
I love that. I love that. That's brilliant. And I also applaud you on the repurposing, because I'm a repurpose queen myself. I think you can repurpose for everything. And I love it that you put it at the front of the book and then you put it at the back of the book. And at the beginning you say, don't forget to repurpose. And then it's just like at the end, have you forgotten? Repurpose. So it's just like very clear. But I love that. And I think accountability really helps us stay on track of just, I know like a lot of people, when they go to write a book, they think they have to go away for a month, and I'll go write a book. But most of us, pretty much all of us, don't do that. We have to write within the cracks of our day, and even make appointments for yourself. And maybe you say, you know what, Friday, afternoons are my writing time, and I don't book other things, because I have to have those boundaries. So did you do anything, since you're so good with accountability and, worksheets and managing your time? How did you manage the time to write your book? Even though you already had a lot of content, you had to still put it together.
Yeah, and it was the managing the time to get it all set up. So here's the thing. This is the key thing. What I did is I booked the venue for the launch party. Okay. And I worked backwards from there, because you can't turn up at your launch party without a book. So that's how I did it. And I made sure, because it was dragging on. It was dragging on. Right. This is it. I'm going to book it. I wasn't going to have a party or anything. And it's like, oh, it seems a bit extravagant. But when I've spoken to other people who've written a book, the best bit was the party, and I got a few authors along. John Esperian came along, and I'm there at this book thing, and there's loads of people there, and they're all absolutely lovely. And the guy who I booked to come and do the talk, a guy called John Lamerton, he's written 4 books, and he was saying that how many people had actually written a book. And the percentage and stuff like that. And he's a Plymouth Argyle supporter. And I think he said that the ground is like, it's 10,000 people could be there. And basically only 2 people in that stadium would have written a book. And when you look at it like that, you sort of like think, but it's just a book. But when you start and think of it like that, and just saying to people that you've written a book or you're an author or stuff like that, I never thought I'd be able to write a book, because I was rubbish at English at school. I was in the bottom set. I was in the top set of maths. Yeah. Flying when it come to numbers, but when it come to English, I just didn't have a clue. And so in my head, I'm never going to be an author. And here I am on a podcast talking about writing a book. How's that?
I love it. I love it. And I think that sort of that author anxiety, you kind of call it in your book LinkedIn anxiety, that it's like people go to like write a post, and that's again another reason why people are like, I don't know what to post about because I feel like I'm bragging, or nobody's going to care about, what book I'm reading, or whatever I have an idea to write a post about. Who would care about that? And we deal with that anxiety. I know people who like do a post and write me and say, oh my gosh, nobody's commenting, I want to rip it down. Like, we get very vulnerable with doing that. So you had a little bit, author anxiety, it sounds like, but you don't care. You push on through.
What's the best that can happen?
Somebody gets your book and it changes a life. That's the best. That's
absolutely.
The best. Because we don't do it for the money. It's like nobody is like, nobody I know is writing a book.
I'm not sure I've covered my costs yet.
Yes, it's like none of us are drinking pina coladas on the southern coast of Spain or anything like that because we sold so many books. But to me, the payoff is, you've changed a life. You've added to your own credibility. The list goes on and on and on. But I love it that somebody else could be taking your book to sunny Spain and be sitting there on the beach, and they could be reading your book right now, or they could be like me and they have the internet edition, the Kindle edition, and I could be reading it on a plane and, all sorts of different things. So I love that your book has changed lives. And thank you for not ever going, who am I to,
Well, again, it's I've got my guitars behind me. I was at this thing a couple of weeks ago, and this guy came on my stand, and he's booked me to play guitar at his wedding. And I was like, oh my goodness, but he wouldn't have booked me if he didn't think I could do the job. So. Right. And it's sort of like, I can't do that. I've got I'll find an excuse. But no, I played at my daughter's wedding, so I can do my daughter's wedding. I can do any wedding. I can do any wedding. And so it's just stopping and listening to what you're telling yourself, because is it really true? And it's not. You're just making it up because you're worried, or your brain's worried. Your brain is trying to protect you. Your brain doesn't want you to be eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. Now, the saber-toothed tiger is someone saying it's not a very good book, but they don't buy it because it's an Amazon book, so they can go on and they can have a quick look at it. They can see the reviews. They can make a decision if they buy it or not. And look, it's less than $10, so it's not exactly gonna break the bank either, is it?
No, not at all. Not at all. So, okay. I want to hop over and check out some of the comments, but I got some other things I want to ask you about. So we have the wonderful, let's see. We got Jeff Young.
He's all over the shop. He's all over the shop.
He's on YouTube. Yeah, YouTube and LinkedIn. And he says, easy peasy and Tigger together again. Great to see you both. Namaste. And then he pops over to LinkedIn just to make sure that I know it's working, which is great. Together, talk about your dynamic duo. I had to be in the front row for this one. So I love that. I love that. We have David Cause here. Woo-hoo-hoo, bouncing. Absolutely. We have Jeff. I love going to Ashley's profile because he is the only person with a smile bigger than mine on his profile picture. That's what a nice thing to say.
It's lovely, isn't it? Isn't that lovely?
I love that. I love that. That's absolutely lovely.
Hi,
Kat is here. She says, brilliant episode. So thank you for joining us, Kat. I love when new people come. We have Max Wooten.
Hi,
hello to both of you. So this is wonderful. I love it. David says the best. And Jeff says, cover your costs. In my mind, if it helps just one person, you're ahead. So that's
good point, Jeff. Thank you.
It's absolutely true. And voices so often within. Yes. And I think that's probably the biggest thing that writers struggle with is that, like we said, the LinkedIn anxiety and the author anxiety are very real. I actually read last night in a book, I think it was Steve Pressfield's Art of War or War of Art. I always get the title mixed up. I must be dyslexic or something. And he was talking about somebody he knew that had 99.9% completed their book and couldn't push that button. And his wife was like, come on, like we did all this, we sacrificed for the last 2 years for you to write this book, and his marriage ended. So it's like, not only did he not push the
Wow.
button, but he just like screwed up his whole life and his marriage and stuff. So that anxiety is real. Luckily, we hear the voices and we like, shoo, go away, go talk to someone else, not us. So it's good. So how long did it take you to write your book from sort of like, I got the idea to, okay, it's up, the world can buy it? What was your timeline?
I think I started it in May and the party was in November. So however many months that is, 6 months.
Wow. That's actually pretty speedy. That's pretty speedy. I love it. I love it. And I love that you booked a party, because I know some people will like, they put a picture up on their, profile. It's like, coming, and they put the date, October 1st, right? 2025, something like that. And they have that out there so the world can see. And then other people, this is the scariest one. I've heard of people who have said, I'm going to put it as available for pre-order. And they just pop it up on Amazon and people are buying it. And it's like, it's not even written yet. And it's like, I'd be having a massive heart attack. I couldn't do that. But I think some people, were you one of those people, like when you went to school, were you like getting that essay in on the last day at like 5 p.m. when you had to get the paper in?
No, I hated homework. So basically the teacher would turn around and say, right, you need to do 3 pages on this, and it needs to be in by Friday, and it was Monday. I'd go home, I'd do the 3 pages, and I hand it in on Tuesday. I just hated having stuff outstanding, and I'd get home and I'd sit with a little desk thing at home, and I'd just get it done, because I just hated the fact that and you speak to your other friends and. You're going to come and play on our bikes today, or go and play football or something. No, I got homework. Well, haven't you done it? No, I've got science and maths and English and geography and history and biology and physics. Like, I've done all that. And so, yeah, that's probably why I managed to write a book in 6 months.
You're amazing. See, I was the opposite. I was actually the person who was like up all night, doing that last essay, falling asleep at a typewriter. That's how long ago I was in college. I was on a typewriter. And one time I actually had to take a cab to get it in on time.
Wow.
I couldn't do the buses. Wow. I knew I couldn't do it. So I had a cab and I'm like, step on it. He's like driving through the streets of Toronto. And it's like, I literally walked into the class, popped it on the desk, and I walked out. I hadn't like showered for 3 days. So I was a terrible person with deadlines. Probably that's why the thought of doing a pre-order on Amazon freaks me out if I haven't written the book. So
yeah.
We all work differently. So let me ask you, since time is always of the essence with people, did you learn anything while you were writing your book where you said, this would have saved me so much time if I had only done X? Was there anything, or was your process great? Is there anything that you could have saved time with?
No, I don't think I could have done. I worked with a lady called Hayley Smith. So she did all the Amazon thing for me, and she put out the copywriting or whatever, the editing, to a guy called Al. So Al copyrighted it and sent it back, and so I created the book, and then they went through it and sort of like red lines through it, just like being back at school with my English teacher. And I think the thing that took the longest, and it's there somewhere, or maybe I've thrown it away now, was I printed it all out, so that I actually had something to physically look at. Because when you're reading on the screen, you can read it on the screen. But when you've got it and you're sitting in, and so I printed it all out, and a great big bulldog clip on it, a red pen, down at the beach, and I'm sat there reading through it. Oh, why have I done that? And then going back home and then redoing it. All of that took the time. And then obviously Al looked at it and changed a few things, but no, I don't think I could have done anything else that could have saved time. I wasn't using ChatGPT then, and I don't think I would anyway, because it was just my ideas. So
Right.
it's nearly 100% me, because obviously Al did a bit, but no, it's how I am. And so yeah, some of it you might go, but hopefully when you read it, you go, he's just like he is on the podcast. It's just like he is on LinkedIn. So yeah, there you go.
That's exactly what I thought. I gave you a stellar review on Amazon because I really enjoyed reading your book, and you captured your voice very well, so that when I read it, I know you, I can hear your voice in my head, and it's like, and it has that amount of energy in the book, and just so many great ideas. And I was just really impressed with, number one, your charge to repurpose, because that's my, like, why reinvent the wheel?
Absolutely.
We're in these days of recycle your content. And I love the accountability, because I think that it really does help us stay on track when we write it down. It's just so many great things there. So I thought that was great. Good book.
Thank you.
Highly recommended. So I want to ask you, where is the 15-minute author going now? Are we one and done, or we got something else cooking? And I already know the answer.
There's three things cooking. I'm just so busy trying to do other things. So the first one is going to be 102 ideas for LinkedIn. So it's going to be a similar book, but with another 101 ideas, but plus one. So that'll be the follow-up book. So it'll be similar sort of vein, but refreshed and with some ideas for AI in there as well. I'm going to be writing the 50-minute a day habit. So basically everything that I teach in a book. And the other one that we've chatted about is my life story, which I still sort of like, who's going to want to read that apart from Gillian? But yeah, that would be a good book. And there's another chapter written today in that book with something that's happened. So that's interesting and fun.
And sometimes, like, I'm struggling because it's like I'm like you. I've got, all these books in the hopper. But then there's the book that's like sitting over there that it's like you go, okay, that's a book. I want to talk about moving to Israel and everything that I went through, because that was like a huge part of my life and so many lessons. And it was just amazing, the lessons that came my way. And yet you do struggle. You're just kind of going like, but who is this book for? Who is this book for? Until you can kind of figure out, okay, it's like my parents aren't going to read it because they're gone. So they're not going to read it. My mom was my number one fan. She always like read everything, when she died, I went to her house and I found out she had taken my blog, and she, I had a personal blog out there, and she had printed every entry and kept it in the book in color.
Wow.
So that's when you kind of know your mom really was the number one fan. So yeah, so doing that, but I'm excited to know that there will be more books out there, because I think you're a fabulous writer. You have so much to share. And I love everything you do, Ashley, because it just has so much energy. So now that you have the book, what has it done for you? How has it changed your life? Or is it like you have to keep reminding people? Has it opened up new doors for you? What has the book done for you?
I don't know, because you can't quantify it, but I have been asked to do some really cool speaking gigs. And I guess if you're looking to hire somebody to come and do a talk about LinkedIn or motivation and stuff like that, and they've written a book, that puts them ahead of somebody that hasn't written a book. So yeah, I don't know. But here's the thing that I love about being a writer is every now and again I get tagged in on a post on LinkedIn. One guy the other week took a photo of that, and he'd written in it. And I was just wondering what to post today, and I remembered that I got this book. It's absolutely brilliant. Thank you, Ashley, for this idea. And he wrote an idea. And then another lady from Australia, purchased my book and then went on holiday to Austria skiing and took a photo of her with my book halfway up a mountain with loads of snow. And I'm like, wow. And it just blows my mind and makes me smile. And I'll always send them a personalized message to say thank you, because it's lovely. It is lovely to be recognized and to feel that you're helping somebody. So yeah, that's the best thing about writing the book.
I love it. I love it. And your cover immortalizes you. So you literally could see somebody, if they were reading it on an airplane, you could go up and say, hey, would you like me to sign this for you?
Well, especially because I travel. When I travel on planes, I wear a yellow t-shirt. So you could just imagine, as I'm walking down the aisle to go to the bathroom, someone sat there reading their book. And I go, is that the same guy? So yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, we've reached the end of our 30 minutes. Is there any final words of wisdom that you'd like to share with everybody today?
Yes. If you're worrying about what anyone else would think, don't. Just get out there, do it. What is the best that can happen?
Lovely. Lovely. Well, thank you for being here today, Ashley. Thank you, everybody who tuned in, everybody who's going to watch the replay, everybody who's going to listen to the podcast. We appreciate you being here today. And if you have any more questions, just go ahead and pop them in and we'll get back with you. Okay. Well, thanks, everybody. And we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Cheerio now. Bye-bye.